Welcome, everybody. This is D. Durrell with the Conscious Clientele here, D. Durrell Life Solutions. Thank each and every one of you for being here today. We're going to have a quick video. I'm going to talk about a few things as it relates to preparing yourself as a business owner for any type of economic downturn in your business, economy-wise. We're going to talk about the ways to protect yourself. We're going to talk about ways in which you can get through the rough times. Now, we're going to look at this from a long-term perspective. We can also look at it from a short-term perspective. And so what I want to talk about is ways in which you can prepare for that, different instruments that you can use, economic instruments, ways in which you manage your money. To be honest with you, how you manage your overall business so that when these things do occur, and they will occur at some point in your career as you operate your business. Now, I'm going to talk from a private practice, more of a healthcare standpoint. And usually when I talk about business, I usually talk about managing your business as a business owner. It's more in line with dealing with, like if you're in the healthcare industry or some other related industry, such as mental health, healthcare, home health, any type of private practice, any type of consulting, anything that you're dealing with business. I think that what I talk about is more in line with that, as it involves consulting, referring, one-on-one consultations, on-site visits, in-office visits, whether it's in mental health or not, education, medical, it's all kind of interrelated in a sense, because as I look at my career over the last 18 years, a lot of that encompassed me in some way filtering into other areas. So the first thing I want to look at is, as a business owner, you want to make sure that you save a certain amount of income, 3 to 6 months. And I know that may be difficult to do, because particularly when you're operating a private practice or you have a facility like I have or both like I have, there are things that come up. All types of expenses can come up. But I think that it is important to have a stable business. You should have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses, operational expenses. And what I mean by operational expenses, what I mean is things that allow you to operate your day-to-day operations. That means you should have enough money to take care of rent, electricity, cable, phone, other materials that you have to use. Also, some of that money should also involve payroll. And a lot of times, lack of having payroll can be one of the quickest ways that a desperate business that's lacking consistent consistent cash flow, in many ways may tempt you to take a bad loan or a bad business deal or a bad, financial instrument that may not be in your favor long term. There are tons of things out there, such as these daily paid loans, these MCAs, and so forth, these weekly loans that you can pay, bi-weekly loans, and so forth, daily paid loans and so on, that they'll pay you a certain amount of money at a high interest rate, and they're going to deduct money out of your account daily. I know all about it because I got involved in that a few times. And usually what led me to get into that is the fact that I had issues getting payments from insurance companies, particularly a few that I can think right off top. And those were my major payers. And if I didn't get paid, I couldn't afford to continue operations or pay my employees. So I kind of plunged myself into a bad financial decision. I made some poor decisions on that back in 15 and 16. Now I began to look at other different types of instruments further down the line, in which I actually got better interest rates and better deals. Now, I think one of the best ways, again, you want to be able to save 3 to 6 months expenses. Now, I understand right off top that may be difficult, and you may not achieve that. But at least, let's say you didn't get 3 to 6 months of expenses, but you got 2 months of expenses. Okay, well then that 2 month cushion allows you, will allow you to function as a business until some other things can come about, some other funds or some other ways in which you can, obtain the money or whatever things. It gives you that 60 days to get things on track. So when that time comes, you can continue your business. I mean, it's okay if you don't have, even if you had 1 month, okay, if you had 1 month, now you're going to have 30 days. But I say at least 30 to 60 months. And when you are able to fully function again, you put that money that you spent, save again to put it back in that account so you can have that cushion again. That's how you can somewhat survive. Okay. Long term, you want to look at having a certain amount of money consistently growing. I encourage you to put that money into interest-bearing accounts, such as a money market account, savings account, money market account, in which it is earning interest. Now, it ain't earning a lot of interest, but it's earning interest as you move forward, particularly if you're not touching it for a long period of time. And I know some people may say, well, what about a CD? I would not encourage you to put your money into a CD unless it's a 60 to 90 day CD, which they don't have many of those. When I had an account with Scottrade, before Scottrade was bought by Ameritrade, that was actually what I used to save money. They had 60 to 90 day, 30, 60, 90 day CDs in which you can put money into it. And then you can either have it reoccurring or you can take the money out, and you had to invest a minimum of $500 into those accounts. I was actually able to save a great deal of money by doing that because it provided the flexibility of me taking money out if needed. And if I did not need it, I would just renew the CD another month or 30 days or more until I would need money, or if I didn't need it, it was automatically recurring, and I gave myself the power to decide so. I would not encourage anybody to put money into CDs, which can actually give you more interest, but you can't get the money out for at least a year or more, depending on if you want to build a CD ladder. I would encourage you to do that once you have developed a certain level of comfortability with earning certain money, knowing that you may not need this money for another year or two. So that's more long term. But I would encourage you to put your money to a savings account, interest-bearing savings account, or a money market. Okay. The other instrument that I would encourage you to use is to use a flexible line of credit or flexible business line of credit. Now, most business lines of credit, particularly for businesses that I deal with, they finance it at least, you can finance for a year. They may maximum do it for 2 years or 3 years, maybe 4 years. But for the most part, most that I see, the average line of credit for business, they're going to finance the amount of money you take out for at least 2 years. And then it's recurring or it's flexible, meaning that you can pull money out, pay it back, and so on. And it's constantly, that's the continuity of that type of financial instrument. I like personal or business lines of credit because I actually like that better than I like credit cards. Now, credit cards to me is the last one that I would tell you to use. And the reason why I would tell you not to use credit cards is because credit cards, you have to pay the money back in less than 30 days. Most credit cards are like 21 to 20 plus days to repay the money back. And then also with credit cards, they hit you harder as far as it's easier to get over that 25 to 30% percentage range, which anything higher than that could potentially bring your credit score down. And particularly, even if you had $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 credit cards or what have you, still, to me, credit cards are the worst instrument to use as it relates to day to day or to get through those short-term bumps as far as cash flow, because you take 50% out of the credit card, it's going to greatly impact on a negative manner on your credit. So again, I would encourage a business line of credit, or for personal use, personal line of credit. Also, if you just need a loan, I would prefer you just to get a business loan. Let's say you want to get a business loan for $30,000 and they want to finance that loan for $30,000 for 5 years. I would encourage you, if you're going to do a business loan, make sure you get a business loan that's going to cover, for an amount that's going to cover all of your needs long term. Okay? So if you need $20,000 to cover everything and put you in the right direction, don't get a loan for $10,000. That's not going to do much for you. Get the $20,000. You may have to finance it for from whatever amount of years that financial institution requires you to. Okay, I would encourage you, if you're going to do that, that's more for long-term things, because you're not going to be paying that loan off until 4 or 5 years or more. Okay, I've had situations where I've gotten $20,000, $30,000 loans, and I paid them off in a year, or I paid them off in 8 months, 10 months. And I did that because I knew that doing that would allow me to reapply again and get a better interest rate and so on. But I would say, if you're going to get a business loan, make sure you get a business loan that's going to cover everything that you need and also have a cushion for yourself in case some other things go wrong. You see, in business, there's always things that can occur that can cause something to go wrong. Case in point, I was doing well in my businesses back in January to April of last year. COVID came. Basically, my Dallas office revenue went down like 75%. My offices in Houston, they went down not as much. They went down about maybe 60%. But the issue, and I was forced to close down for 2 months for pretty much 30 to 40% of my operations. I had to lay people off and so on, was not making the income that I once was. And I continued to go and continue to do things until I was able to get through it. And at the same time, I was starting another business. So I couldn't take the discretionary income that I was making from this business to invest in the Janice house that I have. So I was put in a situation. I didn't have to borrow money, but because I had money that was set aside, and also I received assistance from the government due to the PPP loans and so in the CARES Act, I was able to invest and allow that business to operate. Now, so notice, I talked about savings accounts. I talked about money market accounts, interest-bearing accounts. I talked about business loans. I talked about lines of credit, business lines of credit, in which what I encourage most people to do. I think that is probably the best instrument. So again, do you have any questions about anything that I talked about? Those are the instruments that I would encourage people to use if you are encompassing a bad economic period of time, an economic downturn in which you're not obtaining the revenue that you once you were enjoying at one time, and you find yourself not being able to pay bills, or you're getting slow payments and so on, and it's making it difficult for you to operate daily. So again, this is D. Durrell Life Solutions. This particular video was for those that are owners of businesses, particularly in the healthcare type or educational or consulting related businesses like myself. Have a great day.